Hey, welcome to the Michelle Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast. Every black film ever made. My name is Len, aka the Bat Tribble. And as always, I am joined by my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing in the very, 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 very merry and melodious month of June.
Yeah.
Cleaned that up pretty good, I think.
That was all right.
Which is Black Music Month. And tonight we are looking at 2014's Get On Up, the James Brown story, Vincent's selection for this stop on the Michelle Mission. But first, as always, we want to say hello to each and every one of you who are out there in the chat watching us as we are streaming via StreamYard to all of our good friends on Facebook, as well as on YouTube and on Twitch. And to everyone in the chat, hello to each and every one of you.
Good evening, one and all.
How are you doing, Vincent?
I am fine. I am just fine. And how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
Right.
I cannot complain. This past weekend here in Philadelphia, we celebrated one of the oldest African festivals in the country. I think it may be one of the oldest.
Yeah.
Odun Day.
We absolutely did.
Took place here in Philadelphia, where it was African art, tapestry, music, food, all up and down the street of historic South Street here in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful, colorful sight to behold. I know that during it ran throughout the stretch of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent, you were down there.
I was a couple hours. Sure was.
Now, did you go down there with the whole family?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It was very much a family affair.
Yeah, I went.
Very much a family affair.
I was down there with my girlfriend, and we had a very, very good time. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's the first time in a couple of years
that it's been
been back.
Yeah,
so,
because of the pandemic.
Yeah, so it was fantastic.
It was really, really dope. It was really cool. And I really, first of all, it was dope to just be outside again.
Yes.
But what I really appreciated, and I don't know because we were both down there at different times, so you tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
What I really enjoyed about it was that it was so peaceful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was like so peaceful. It was clean. Everyone was friendly. Everyone was cordial. It was tons of people on the streets.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it wasn't, you weren't overburdened. You didn't feel cramped. You know, there was no ignorance at all. It was just a very peaceful, beautiful day. And actually, that was a surprise because the day it started off with, a lot of rain.
Right.
But that cleared out for the afternoon. And then actually it turned out to be a beautiful day.
Yeah. It's always like that though when I go. Like it's always and granted, I'm usually there fairly early.
Yes.
But it's just a beautiful vibe.
Mm-hmm. It's
just beautiful. Like you said, just the entire diaspora shows out.
Yeah.
And shows up. And I actually had a moment, like at one point I had a watermelon water ice and a bean pie, and I was watching my children watch the Capoeira right across from where I was standing.
Nice. So
it was just very, very black.
That is
very, very, Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So
with the water ice.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan. In in Baltimore we had Afram. Mm-hmm. And we have Afram, which is a similar type of festival, but Afram was never as big as Odun Day is, just size wise. So yeah, it's a great time. It really is. The funny thing there was a festival either the week before or 2 weeks before. We were in New York and over by BAM, the Brooklyn Art Museum. I think BAM is Brooklyn Art. There's a huge festival there that it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it looks like, and I think they have that there every year too. So I've been,
Isn't it, is BAM, is that in the area that's considered like the Dumbo district of Brooklyn?
I don't get me to lying.
Okay.
Don't get me to lying. Like I just sort of go up to Brooklyn with my cousin or whoever's in Brooklyn and I do my Brooklyn stuff, but those little quarters and hey, easy.
Yeah.
I don't know where I am.
Hold up.
And you gotta be real easy with Brooklyn.
That's right. Well,
because if you misname it, somebody, oh no, you were, hey, easy.
That's true. Well, you know what?
I know I was in Brooklyn.
That's not Brooklyn specific. That's New York.
Right.
Like if you don't know,
right,
like where specifically in New York you are,
right.
Like people, they check you.
We were right around Bam though, so wherever Bam is, that's the part of Brooklyn I was in.
Okay.
All right.
In regards to you going early to a Dune Day, Farrell Blackwell says, Vincent says, the sun always waits for me to come out.
Well, we're friends. We're just like this. Me and the sun. Yeah.
I do believe it.
Yeah.
I do believe it. All right. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into our show. Let's get into some listener mail.
Missives from the missionaries.
We actually got an email from a longtime listener of the show and frequent corrector on the show, Anthony Sterling.
Anthony.
Hey there, great men of the mission. Don't be alarmed. This email brings you no corrections.
Okay. All right.
Only a movie review request.
Okay.
Hopefully somewhere down the line on the road to 400, you review the film Sitting in Limbo. It's a Canadian film about Caribbean teenagers living in the Great White North in the late 80s. So it may not fit the criteria, but it would be a cool film to hear your take on. That's it, and that's all. May success continue to bless you and the podcast. Anthony, aka your favorite neighborhood super Negro from Louisiana.
Yeah. I like that. There are a couple really funky little movies out of Canada that kind of come to me sometimes. There's a movie called Love, Sex, and Eating the Bones from 2003 that Hill Harper was in. That's a neat little indie film.
Love, Sex,
and Eating the Bones. It's a Canadian film. When Anthony said this was a Canadian film, I was like, oh yeah, Canada.
Okay. All right.
So maybe we'll find two more Black Canadian films, and
we'll do a
Canadian. Was Brown Girl in the Ring? It wasn't Brown Girl in the Ring. I think it was called Brown Girl. Was that Canadian? Certainly, you remember every minuscule detail of every film that we've talked about these many years, don't you?
I do.
Don't you?
I do.
Don't you?
I don't believe that was Canadian though.
Why did I think that was Canadian?
For some reason, I don't believe that was Canadian. If we only had some way to look that up. I see you typing. Are you typing?
Yeah, I am.
Brown Girl, which we did as part of Afrofuturistic April.
Right. It was Brown Girl Begins.
Yes, Brown Girl Begins.
It was indeed Canadian.
Was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I didn't think it was Canadian.
Yep, it was Canadian.
It was. All right.
Well, the novel is set in Canada.
Okay.
So, but I thought it was Canadian. So we can't use that. We need two more Canadian films.
Yes, we
Black
will
Canadian,
search.
Right. Diaspora's pretty deep in Canada. So
is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a strong Caribbean presence. I know.
Okay, I can see Caribbean presence.
And I believe African presence, but definitely Caribbean presence in Canada.
Okay.
So we find two more movies, and then maybe we'll have a Canadian month.
And then we'll make it so. We will make it so. All right.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony. Definitely. And if you, ladies and gentlemen, want to send us an email, if you feel free, email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's micheauxmission@gmail.com. All right. Vincent,
yes, sir.
A couple of items before we get into our features on the show. First, are you a fan of the Tony Awards?
I mean, as much as I'm a fan of any of the award shows, I don't pay them much credence, but I'm always happy when Black creatives win them.
Yeah.
because of the opportunities that they lead to.
I'm not a big fan of like award shows either. And I've
Mhm.
never really been into the Tony Awards,
Mhm.
right? But, and I don't know why it surprised me, but I in retrospect, I shouldn't have been surprised. My girlfriend, who hails from the Bronx, you know, she's born and raised in the Bronx. The Tony Awards are really big to her because one, while I'm sure that's not true for everybody in New York, certainly more than a few people in New York, they like going to Broadway,
Sure,
and seeing plays. And Broadway is, you know, the home of the American theater,
right.
and a lot of times for them, and I guess it's true for a lot of people who are fans of plays and the theater, the Tony Awards presents to them an opportunity to get a taste of some shows to see whether or not they're interested in checking them out.
Okay.
Right. Especially because people are traveling less.
Right. Right.
You know, now. So she was watching the Tony Awards, and by proxy, which meant that I was watching the Tony Awards. And I can't say that I came away with it like a fan of the awards, but man, I enjoyed myself watching it.
Okay.
I will say that. They were hosted by Ariana DeBose from West Side Story.
Oh yeah.
Who played Anita in West Side Story.
Yeah.
I do have to say that I
love her.
I loved her in West Side Story. And as host of award shows go, I thought she was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, she's a delight.
She has no
she's a delight. She hosted Saturday Night Live. She was in a show that I would never recommend to you because you don't like musicals. But the kind of the spoof of musicals that was on Apple TV a couple of months ago, Schmigadoon.
Oh yeah,
she was one of the stars of that.
Yeah, that's the
she's
one
fantastic.
With, Michael Keegan. In. Oh, she was in it. Okay, yeah, I might have to check that out.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she is absolutely great. And it's funny you bring up the whole not like a musical thing, because yes, I have landed on that altar of watching musicals, but I have to recognize I say I don't like musicals, and then I'll go see a musical, and I say, you know what, I like that musical.
You know why? Because musicals are awesome.
A good musical, it's pretty good. Like I saw it for Color Girls.
Yeah,
loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I've seen more than a few musicals over the years, and I enjoy them. I do think I have to like Harry Belafonte. I may have to rethink my stance on musicals,
son, and
say that I enjoy musicals.
You ain't said nothing but a word.
I think I enjoy musicals.
What you want to watch?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to watch.
All right.
Now, if you watch the Tony Awards, ladies and gentlemen, that were huge winners. There was this play, A Strange Loop.
Big.
And I definitely want to see that. Well, Khadijah wants to see that, which by proxy means
it's supposed to be very good.
And then it's supposed to be very good. I do have to say that watching the performance there, it looked cool. I don't know if it 100% interests me, but the idea of the movie interests me because it's like very meta. It's about a guy writing a play about a play.
Right. And he's a usher, I think.
Yeah. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But man, the standout performance of the Tony Awards was by Joaquina Kalukungo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From Paradise Square.
Yeah.
Which is a musical set in the Civil War in New York City,
right?
About like the not war, but dust ups between Irish Americans and Black Americans,
right?
At that time, Joaquina Kalukungo, excuse me, who won the Tony for Best Performance.
Sure did. Congratulations.
She sang the song "Let It Burn." For copyright's sake, I can't replay it here. Look it up on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. It is the most mesmerizing performance you will ever see.
She tore the stage down.
Yo, she tore that.
Yeah.
You know what she did? She let it burn.
Yeah.
That is what she did.
Yeah.
And I actually had missed it live on the Tony Awards, but Khadijah was like, "Yo, you just have to see it." And when I came, they were awarding her the award, the Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And her acceptance speech was magnificent and heartfelt and so authentic and beautiful. I was like, oh my God, yo, I was into the acceptance speech.
Yeah.
But then it made me go back and look at the performance, and I must have watched that performance 9 times on a loop, man. It was fan-freaking-tastic.
It's pretty amazing, and it's fantastic that the theater is back.
Yeah,
it is fancy. We were talking earlier about it, and I realized I've not seen a play since 2019.
Really?
I guess 2020. Like the last thing I saw was A Soldier's Play.
Okay.
With David Allen Greer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because of the pandemic, and now I'm very excited for the opportunity to go back to the theater. There's nothing like a good play.
Nothing like it, man.
Nothing in the world like a good play.
You know, the seats aren't comfortable, but hey, you know, it's the only thing I don't miss about the place. But I think I like musicals, Vincent.
Boy, you know what?
I'm telling you, I really think I like musicals. I can't believe it, but I think I won musical. Deborah Battle let me know. Yes, she won for Best Actress in a Lead Role in a Musical, Paradise Square. And yes, Deborah, that lady sang her face off.
Yes, she did. She did.
It was fantastic. It was absolutely. Robert Monroe Jr. saying the only musical I enjoyed was The Wiz. Look,
hey,
I like The
Wiz is fantastic.
Yes, on stage it is. I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of the movie.
Yeah.
However, again, I saw Wicked. I loved Wicked.
I was underwhelmed by Wicked.
Are you serious?
Wicked underwhelms me.
Oh, I loved it.
I was underwhelmed.
No, well, no, who cares? Anyway, JV on YouTube says he's actually going to New York to see A Strange Loop next week. So JV, you will have to give all of the missionaries a report.
Right, I was about to say, report back, JV.
Yeah, let us know. Hit us up.
Missionaries so cultured.
I know, aren't they?
So cultured.
I know. We don't deserve them.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my little screed on the Tony Awards. Everybody line up for Paradise Square.
Yes.
Check it out. And A Strange Loop.
Right. And you know they're good because we're advertising them for free.
That's right. That's right. Vincent, you wanted to spare a few moments.
Speaking of some free advertising.
Yes.
There's actually a follow-up to something, if you've been listening for the past year or two, that we were talking about. I said I've been looking forward to this when it was announced, and that would be The Man Who Fell to Earth with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Naomi Harris.
Yes, which is on Showtime right now.
Which is on Showtime, and is a direct sequel to one of my favorite science fiction films from the 70s of the same name that starred David Bowie. And it is everything I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And more. It is so good. First of all, I knew Chiwetel Ejiofor and Naomi Harris were involved. Nobody told me that Clark Peters was going to be in it.
I know, right?
Like,
right? Yeah.
He is so good. And Kate Mulgrew shows up.
Yeah.
And I can't believe. Do you have the cast in front of you?
I can get it in front of me in 2 seconds for you.
Because the actor, the funny thing is, the first time I saw him was on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But he plays the young man in black in Westworld.
Oh, let's see. I have the cast up in front of me. So would that be Jimmy Simpson or Josh Hurd? What's the character?
Which one's the creepy looking white guy?
That would be Josh Hurden.
He's fantastic.
Yes, it's Terry.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
And this cast is killing it. Chiwetel Ejiofor is putting on a workshop every week as an alien learning how to be human.
Now, it's still going. Like the first season hasn't ended.
No, it hasn't ended yet. Right. And I don't know if it's going to be renewed. And it's one of these things where if we get one season, I'm just thankful that we'll have this one season of it.
Right.
Because it's just black people doing science. in science fiction.
Or are you maybe thinking of Rob Delaney, who plays Hatch Flood?
I don't know what else was he in? Like
I'm going to pull him
literally
up.
not looking at it.
I don't know because I think he had something to do with
I know
Sonny.
he's really creepy looking.
Well, I mean that's not a stretch for white guys. Because I think he had something to do with you said Always Sunny, right?
Yeah, in Westworld.
And the Westworld.
Because he was great on Westworld too.
No, he wasn't in Westworld. So maybe it was Josh Hurtman. No, I'm looking it up.
You had a chance.
What I mean?
He made me pick up my man who fell to earth. Is the cat.
Well, neither of them were in Westworld.
Oh, for God's sake! It's Jimmy Simpson.
I said that. I said him first. But then you said creepy looking. And Josh looks creepy. Jimmy doesn't look creepy to me. I'm looking at my picture of Jimmy doesn't look creepy. What do you want me to tell you? He doesn't look creepy.
Anyway, I wholeheartedly recommend this show. And Naomi Harris is having the best Black science fiction year of anyone since Letitia Wright was in an episode of Black Mirror and Black Panther in the same year.
Okay.
Like between this and Swan Song, Naomi Harris is the queen of Black science fiction right now.
All right. Now I'm looking at it. The Man Who Fell for Earth. It has on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got an 85%. So that's pretty good.
Okay, but
dude, who cares about
we
that?
Just talked about award shows. Like,
I know.
I don't give a damn what Rotten Tomatoes says.
We will edit that part out just for you.
Right.
When do new episodes? Do you know when they?
I don't know because we usually watch it on Friday.
Okay,
so
it's there by Friday.
Right, it's there by Friday. I know it's there by Friday. I put out a cheese plate and some grapes and some wine.
So the Man Who Fell to Earth
right.
has become the viewing selection for Charcuterie Fridays.
Indeed, it is. Pour Wendy a glass of wine so it doesn't look like I'm just drinking a whole bottle of wine by myself. Then she takes 2 sips and says, "Do you want the rest?" And then I say, "I do want the rest."
Is she not a wine drinker?
She's not really. She's not really a drinker.
She's not really a drinker at all.
Just sort of a sipping.
You know. But that's just the reverse. That you're more the wine drinker.
Yeah, I'm just the drinker.
That's true.
I'm just the drinker. So when we have wine with it's kind of weird. I'm sitting there having. Of course, whiskey and cheese actually do go well together.
See, we have to double date because you and Khadijah
will just drink.
Y'all will just
be drinking.
Y'all just be drinking. And me and Wendy will just sit there looking at you,
drinking.
Drunk fools.
Just drinking. Hey, ain't nobody get drunk. We hold our liquor.
Oh, well, she holds her liquor too.
All right, then. Yeah.
All right. She makes a mean whiskey lemonade.
All right.
All right. So there you go. All right. So the Man Who Fell to Earth.
Man Who Fell to Earth.
I am very, very interested in catching
Made
up
me
on it.
get Showtime.
All right.
I ain't even had Showtime.
You did not. Okay. Bree 517 mentioning, going back to the Tonys real quick, that with A Strange Loop, which also won the Oscars, Jennifer Hudson, who was a producer of that,
that's right,
has joined the rarefied air of a EGOT.
Yes, she has.
Meaning that she has won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Yes, she has.
Award.
Yeah. So it's like her, Whoopi Goldberg.
As far as Black EGOT,
I was trying to think of all of them.
Oh, because there's
it's like Bette Midler. Is Bette Midler an EGOT?
I want to say,
or Streisand's.
I want to say Bette Midler.
Like Midler or Streisand. It seems like one of them would be an EGOT.
Okay, here we go. All the EGOT winners in award history, which means that these are people who have won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony Award. Jennifer Hudson, who just crossed the Rubicon. Rita Moreno.
Okay, I don't think I knew Rita Moreno was an EGOT. Yes, I did. I did know that.
Yes. Now, do you know what she won an Emmy for?
Was it Electric Company?
Interesting. She did win for the Electric Company, but she won a Grammy for the Electric Company.
Huh.
She won a Grammy for Best Recording for Children for the Electric Company. Of course, she won the 1961 Best Supporting Actress Oscar.
Sure, for West Side Story.
Her Emmy.
She probably won a Tony for West Side Story too, didn't she?
No, she won a Tony in 1975 as Gucci Gomez in The Ritz.
Okay.
But she won her Emmy Award for her appearance on The Muppet Show.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Sometimes it's kind of fun to see how people
right how they kind of stitch them together. Okay.
All right, let's see. So we got Rita Moreno, you got Alan Menken.
Okay.
Who classically wrote the scores for Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and he won Tonys for other scores that he wrote for like plays and TV and stuff. John Legend.
I knew John, because John Legend won his producing something.
He won the producing Emmy for Jesus Christ Superstar.
Right, because he just became an EGOT in the past couple of years.
Yes, because that was in 2018.
Yeah.
Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Sir Tim Rice.
Okay, that kind of makes sense too, actually.
Mm-hmm. Robert Lopez, who earned his EGOT status with the 2014 Oscar for Frozen's Let It Go.
Okay.
He also won. He's racked up an Oscar for his work on Coco. He won for the children's show Wonder Pets. That's where he won his Emmy.
Okay.
And he won his Grammy for the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
All right.
Lin-Manuel Miranda still is not an EGOT.
Well, let's see. I'm going down the list.
Okay.
We got.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Scott Rudin.
Okay.
And a name that I know. Whoopi Goldberg. We've mentioned.
Of course.
Definitely an EGOT.
She's been an EGOT for a minute too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Writer Mike Nichols.
Okay. All right.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, I knew Mel Brooks was the EGOT.
Okay. Jonathan Tunick. Oh wow, I know the actor.
Yeah, I'm not.
He won for a Tony Award for Best Orchestrations for Titanic.
Okay.
So his had been more musically based.
Okay.
Marvin Hamlish.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Audrey Hepburn.
Okay. What did she win an Emmy for?
Her Emmy came in 1993, months after her passing, for her work on the educational program Gardens of the World with Audrey Hepburn.
Okay.
So she became an EGOT posthumously.
Okay.
And she won a Grammy in 1994 for her children's album Audrey Hepburn's Enchanted Tale. So actually after she passed,
posthumous. Okay. All right. But she's Audrey Hepburn. Yeah. Speaking of musicals.
Sir John Gielgud.
Okay. All right.
Helen Hayes, the first lady of the American theater.
Yes.
That goes without saying. Richard Rodgers.
Is that of Rodgers and Hammerstein?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can imagine.
Yeah.
And that is your list of 17 who have won the EGOT.
Who are actually EGOTs. So I know Lin-Manuel Miranda is orbiting around one.
I have to imagine.
Because he's got a Tony, he's got an Oscar, he's got a Grammy.
I guess he's got to do something on television.
So I think I think the Emmy might be.
Yeah, because I think there was there was a bit of a thing about Hamilton when it premiered on Disney was not eligible.
Right.
Or for some reason it was disqualified for for an Emmy.
Yeah.
All right.
I suspect Encanto might get him something if it's in the right category.
It may. Well, I don't know, because it'll probably be more Oscars than Emmy.
Yeah.
Even though,
I want him to get it though.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Seems like it, but good job, Jennifer Hudson.
Most definitely.
And never forget, she was cut from American Idol.
Right.
Which brings me full circle to why I don't give much credence to award shows.
There you go.
And I didn't even bring up Driving Miss Daisy, nor Do the Right Thing.
Can I continue?
You may indeed.
All right. Continuing with the show. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for another one of our features. It's feature time, and we're going to kick off with the top five.
Top five. Who's your top five? My top five is. My top five is. My top five is. My top five is. My top five is.
All right, top five, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's top five. I think you're going to enjoy this, Vincent.
I enjoy all of them.
All right. Now, we are reviewing Get On Up.
Get On Up.
The James Brown story.
Yes.
Now, James Brown, not to be confused with Jim Brown.
No.
The famous historic football star, actor, and activist.
Right. Or with James Brown, the sports guy, right?
Or James Brown, the sports announcer.
See?
Yes.
I have sports ball.
You yes, you do. Yes, you do. But I'm glad you went there, because as you can see, James Brown or Jim Brown is a popular name.
Sure.
It definitely is a popular name.
Right.
Now, with all due respect to James Brown, the sports announcer,
mm-hmm.
You will be hard pressed to find more famous Jim Browns than the football player / actor.
Sure.
And certainly hard pressed to find more famous James Brown
mm-hmm.
than the Godfather of Soul, Mr. Dynamite himself.
Yeah, Mr. Please.
Yes.
Yes.
So I did not take on that challenge.
Okay.
But what I have found are the top 5 famous James Brown's Caucasian division. So these are famous white
right.
James
like
Browns.
James Blancs. You see what I did there?
I see what you did.
Did you see what I did there?
I did see what you did there. You're a special kind of cat. All right. So starting with number 5.
Number 5.
top James Brown's Caucasian division. We have oops, that's the wrong one. Forget you saw that.
Okay.
Number 5, we have James Brown, the author of Apology to the Young Addict.
Okay.
Now, this was James Brown, who was born in 1957, his third memoir, the last of a trilogy dealing with addiction recovery and helping others achieve sobriety.
Okay.
His acclaimed first memoir, The Los Angeles Diaries from HarperCollins in 2003, is an intimate portrait of his dysfunctional family, covering his childhood, Hollywood script meetings, his splintered marriage, and life with his older brother, the actor Barry Brown, and his sister, the actress Marilyn Brown, who both committed suicide.
Damn. Well, 5's really a downer. I hope
it's a downer, but
I hope the top 4.
Well, his book, was named the best book of the year by Publishers Weekly. Brown and Patrick O'Neill co-authored Writing Your Way to Recovery: How Stories Can Save Our Lives, a book on utilizing creative writing techniques in the drug and alcohol recovery community.
All right.
So shout out to James, the author, James Brown.
Kind of hard to riff and make jokes about that James Brown.
No. And good on him. I'm proud to know the man. All right. Number 4, top 5, James Brown. James Brown, the publisher of the Little Brown and Company.
Well, you had a ball doing this research, didn't you? This sounds like fun.
James Brown, who was born in 1800, and died in 1855, very young.
Yes.
American publisher, co-founder of Little Brown and Company, which is a publishing company that is still in business over 100 years later.
All right.
All right.
Let's hear it for that James Brown.
Okay. So that's
Digging
his
the
claim to
scene
fame.
like a publishing machine.
That's it was.
All right.
Number 3
Number 3.
is James S. Brown Jr., cinematographer of his many famed films. He was a cinematographer on the 1940s Shadow, as well as the 1943 Batman.
Have you ever seen that?
I have.
And
It's horrible. It is horrible. Now, to be fair, while that may be the most popular thing, that prominent film that James S. Brown Jr. has on his resume, he has over 150 films
okay.
to his credit from the 1930s into the early 50s
Okay.
that he was a cinematographer on.
Okay. So he probably didn't. What year did he die?
James S. Brown died. Actually, he didn't go into the 50s. He died in 1949.
Okay. So
1949.
he didn't live long enough to be mistaken for
No,
James Brown and have to deal with that.
no, he did not have to deal with
Right.
that.
Like someone I know whose name is Wendy Williams has to deal with people calling her Wendy Williams and
Mhm.
saying, "How you doing?"
Right.
all the time. So
No.
James S. Brown didn't have to.
He didn't have to deal with that.
to please set up the lighting so we can get this shot.
No,
That's
he
the
didn't.
type of thing I would have said to him.
He did not. But he did say, please, I don't want to talk about Batman,
I don't want to talk about Batman. Right.
because it really is very bad.
So like not talking about Bruno, which maybe we'll get Lin-Manuel Miranda and EGOT.
Maybe. He did everything. He obviously was the superhero guy
Okay.
because he did the Shadow.
Okay.
He did Batman.
Okay.
He did the Spider Returns.
Okay.
He did the Phantom.
Okay.
He did the Whistler.
Oh, that's a pretty deep cut right there. The Whistler.
He did the Phantom of 42nd Street, Devil Bat's Daughter, Strangler of the Swamp,
Oh no.
Mr. Hex,
Okay.
The Gas House Kids in Hollywood,
Right. Yes, of course.
and his final film was Zomba.
Oh, you know what? I've actually seen Zomba.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you
Zomba's
think?
not bad.
Not
I
bad.
don't remember the lighting, but you know, I like early 40s zombie movies where it's just black people beating on drums.
Mm. All right, so that was James S. Brown. Number 2,
Number 2.
we have James Harmon Brown, TV writer of famed soap operas The Guiding Light and Dynasty. Now,
This is a motley crew.
it gets better. James Harmon Brown, who wrote along with his partner Barbara Essington, they were famed for their scripts drifting towards the supernatural
Okay.
and science fiction element in the soap operas
Yeah.
that they were hired for. So when the two wrote for The Guiding Light during the later part of the 90s, the show's primary heroine, Reva Shane, was cloned.
Okay.
And when the duo would later write for Port Charles, along with other supernatural creatures, they introduced vampires
Okay.
onto the series.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry. Is Port Charles?
Port Charles was the
that
spinoff
the-
from the General Hospital.
But remember, there was a soap opera
Mhm.
in the 80s or 90s that was their shtick. It was basically
That was Dark Shadows.
no, it was. I was about to say they were like Dark Shadows, but it was a soap opera. And then, like, I remember, I think it was like a demon puppet, and I'm not thinking about soap.
Wait a minute.
There was a soap
80s?
opera in the 80s, maybe the 90s, where that was the deal.
That it was supernatural.
They had wacky stuff on it.
And it wasn't soap. And
It wasn't
Dark
soap,
Shadows.
and it wasn't Dark Shadows.
Did they try and wait a minute? Because at one time during the writer's strike, they brought back Dark Shadows.
It was not Dark Shadow. You know, I know Barnabas Collins.
Okay. All right. Supernatural
Soap opera.
soap opera. I'm telling you, you know what's going to come up. It's going to be Dark Shadows. Let's see.
It is not Dark Shadows.
I'm looking, Vince. I'm looking. Supernatural soap opera, according to tvtropes.com. They're presenting me with Dark Shadows.
Of course.
I'm not seeing anything.
It was Passions.
Passions.
It was Passions.
All right. Watch my table. Passions. I'm seeing Passions here. I'm clicking on Passions, which was created by former Days of Our Lives head writer James Riley. The show ostensibly follows the lives of numerous families in a small New England town of Harmony, including the evil Crane family, who orchestrated most of the 9 magical plot lines. The Lopez Fitzgeralds, many of whom fell in love with the Crane family members.
Yup, and the doll
Bennetts-
that came to life, Timmy. It's Passions.
The Bennetts, who were connected to the oh my god. Oh my god. This all right, Passions. Okay. Well, I'm not aware of that.
Not aware of Passions. And he didn't write for Passions.
He did not write for Passions.
Okay.
Maybe Passion stole his shtick.
Right. I just remember Passions had a doll that came to life. And it was
Timmy.
like Timmy was like an evil Pinocchio situation.
Wow.
Which in some ways Pinocchio is an evil Pinocchio situation, but
oh yeah, Deborah Battle saying to Passions had Timmy the doll. They had Rudell Scriven saying they had aliens, witches, clones, anything and everything.
Yeah, Passions was Buck Wild.
Oh my god. I see, now you have stoked my curiosity,
dude.
I feel like I have to watch Passions.
It's not as interesting as it sounds, and you have to sit through a lot. It's sort of like, remember, do you ever watch Mary Hartman?
Oh, of course.
But remember, Mary Hartman quietly was boring.
Yes, it was.
All the way up until it would be like 3 minutes where it wasn't boring.
Yes.
And then it get boring again.
Yes.
Passions was kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it was just a weird.
See, I had my fill with that type
curio.
of stuff because I watched Soap.
You watch Soap, right?
Which
Right.
was the primetime sitcom,
Right.
that spoof soap operas.
Right. And I watched reruns of Dark Shadows. Obviously, you know, we were a little young for Dark Shadows, but I always felt like they tipped their hand too early
On Dark Shadows.
that for letting you know that Barnabas Collins was a vampire.
Well, Dark Shadows wasn't succeeding in the ratings until they really leaned in on that.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
So
then
maybe
they
maybe
had
because
to.
I saw it in reruns,
Mhm.
I didn't see the slow burn
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So it sounds like maybe I would have liked the early Dark Shadows.
I don't think so.
No?
It was still early soap operas.
So early soap operas?
No, you wouldn't know.
All right. Okay.
There's a reason why they leaned.
I'm sorry I
hard.
took you, but you must have known, talking about a dude who wrote for soap operas and then brought in supernatural elements. Like, you might as well have had a van that said free candy on the side of the road while I was walking by.
Very true. All right. Are you ready for number one?
I am ready for number one, because number two was fantastic.
Number one, the number one famous James Brown Caucasian division.
Caucasian division. It's called the Police.
James the King Brown, famous Elvis impersonator. Who you can find on homeoftheking.com. Who, lest you think this man doesn't do thing, he does shows in Delaware. He does shows all across the country.
Delaware. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean,
You said Delaware. I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say like Saudi Arabia or something. You said Delaware. He's all over the place. Right down 95. You go to Christiana Mall, you get yourself a pretzel from Auntie Anne's, and then you go see James the King Brown as an impersonator. You said Delaware.
I'm not gonna clown this guy. He's the number one famous white James Brown.
You know, some of the Targets there have 2 floors. This is Delaware. They still have Krispy Kremes in Delaware.
Hey, you laugh.
I am.
In 2008,
Oh, well.
James the King Brown. I'm reading directly from his bio here.
Where else would you be reading from? The New York Times profile of him.
He got a call from Danny Seraphin,
Oh,
drummer and long-lasting founding member of Chicago.
okay.
Steven Tyler was producing Lonely Street, a movie about Elvis being still alive. And guess who lent his voices to the recording of those quote-unquote new Elvis tracks?
Is it James the King Brown?
James the King Brown.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steven Tyler, for giving me this opportunity to lend my voice to the continuing majesty that is Elvis Aaron Presley.
Farrell Blackwell said, please tell me he headlined a show at the Dover Motor Speedway.
Welcome to the Dover Motor Speedway, ladies and gentlemen.
Start your engines.
We're going to have car racing in a little while, but before, make sure you take yourself to the concession stand and avail yourself of the nachos and cotton candy and various other treats and delights for you and the children of all ages.
We got to win this race.
Yeah, that's a little, I guess that's probably the opportunity for that, right? You guys got to win this. As I continue adding to the legacy of the king.
Hey.
Here at the opening of this Pep Boys here on Route 40.
You laugh.
I am.
However, James the King Brown.
James the King Brown.
He's called the King.
That's apparently.
James Brown, the Godfather of Soul. Nobody calls him the King.
They don't.
They only call this James Brown's the King.
So I guess there you go.
There you go.
And I mean, maybe James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, performed in Delaware, but maybe. I don't know for a fact.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's tonight's top 5.
We should probably stop because I will spend another 20 minutes talking about my trip to Graceland when I was. So,
okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Lynn Webb.
It's time for. Six Degrees of Derville Martin, ladies and gentlemen, where Vincent will endeavor to link to an actress that I named for him in 6 films or less to 70s bon vivant
icon.
Perhaps
he himself was in Delaware at some point. You said Delaware. Ooh, Delaware. Are we going to get hate mail from Delaware? I hope not. I like Delaware.
Derville Martin. Vincent, okay, I didn't ask you. I didn't choose Elvis Presley for you to link to.
Right. Which I don't know if I could.
Oh, the link to Elvis Presley?
I mean, I'd probably have to go through. Is that Anne Margaret's in whatchamacallit with him?
Anne Margaret is in not Jailhouse Rock.
No.
It's one of them beachy movies.
And Anne Margaret was also in Bye Bye Birdie.
Yes.
I always want to make that Rita Moreno, but I don't think that's Rita Moreno in Bye Bye Birdie.
No, Rita Moreno's not in Bye Bye Birdie.
It's not Dick. And who is it? Not Dick Van Dyke. Who's the dude?
Paul Lynn is in Dick.
Paul Lynn.
And maybe is it Dick Van Dyke that's in the movie? That's a good question.
I think I'm thinking about Paul Lynn. Yeah, okay. I guess I might be able to cobble together Elvis, but Elvis would be difficult.
He would be. He would.
Elvis would be difficult.
Yeah, he would be hard. He would be hard. Anne Margaret's not a bad place to start. I can't think of anybody else in any other Elvis Presley movie. It's been so long since I watched Elvis.
No. So I'd go Elvis, Anne Margaret, Jack Lemmon.
Well, I mean, you got to be able to name the movie, though.
Okay. Anne Margaret is in the Elvis movie that we can't think of right now.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
It's like girls, or
Elvis Presley
and Margaret.
Anne Margaret are both, and I know you're screaming in the chat, but I just want to look it up.
Not girls. What is the name of that movie? Where he's a race car driver, I think.
Yeah, it's Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas. Then Anne Margaret is in Grumpy Old Men with Jack Lemmon, who's in Some Like It Hot with Tony Curtis.
Right.
Who's in The Defiant Ones with Sidney Poitier.
Okay.
Who's in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner
with Derville Martin.
So okay, well there you go.
You got it.
Yeah, I knew it had to be Anne Margaret though.
Yeah, the only other person I know that I can name off the top of my head was in the Elvis Presley movie was Mary Tyler
Moore's in
Change of Habit.
Which funnily enough, you'd think I'd go there because that's the movie that he's in with black people.
Right.
Because remember, he's the doctor helping out the ghetto youth.
Oh, yes.
In the ghetto.
Yeah. But the only thing with that is that if you can't name the black people in that movie, which I can't.
I think they're just the black youth.
Yeah, I think they are, yes.
The black youth that I'm helping out here.
And Mary Tyler Moore, she didn't make her bones in the movies.
Right.
So
that'd be a dead end.
Yeah, because I was like, oh.
Well, I'm glad you didn't pick Elvis.
I did not pick Elvis.
Glad Elvis isn't one of the ones you picked.
But what I did do, I went to the world of biopics.
Okay.
Musical biopics.
Okay.
So the first one I have for you is in 6 movies or less, link from Derville Martin to Joaquin Phoenix. Who was in the biopic. Oh God, I just lost it. He was Johnny Cash.
It's kind of cheap, but it's my favorite Joaquin Phoenix film. Derville Martin is in Sheba Baby with Pam Grier. Pam Grier is in Jackie Brown with Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson is in The Avengers with Scarlett Johansson, who's in Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
I forgot he was in Her. Yeah.
It's actually my favorite Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Is it?
Oh, I love Her.
The movie that I was thinking of where he plays Johnny Cash is Walk the Line.
Right.
2005.
A good movie too.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I enjoy I mean, I guess we talk about where it fits in these, but it's a solid. Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. Yeah, I like Joaquin Phoenix in that. So, okay. But there you go.
I did like Her. I've seen Her.
Yeah, I love Her. Yeah.
I've seen Her. I'm trying to think. It's interesting. You just because off the top of your head, you said that.
Oh, and what's his name's in Her too? Chris Pratt.
Oh, that's
right. It's a couple of Marvel alumni in there.
That probably is. I don't know if I will say it's my favorite movie of his, but my favorite performances of his is in what is objectively, and actually watching it again, it's just a dumb, fun popcorn movie. But I love his performance in Gladiator.
He's good in Gladiator.
Yeah.
He's good in Gladiator.
He's the best thing in Gladiator to me.
Really?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like Russell Crowe.
I was about to say, I think Russell Crowe actually,
yeah, but I think
actually sells it. Like I actually bought in to the Russell Crowe hype because of Gladiator.
Yeah, but he's still very one note in there, I feel. Whereas Joaquin is just chewing the scenery and having so much fun.
Yeah.
So all right. So very good.
All right.
You did Joaquin Phoenix.
All right.
In no time. Now, let's get from Derville Martin to the coal miner's daughter.
Oh, Sissy Spacek. Yeah. Sissy say, oh well. Can I use coal miner's daughter? Come on, dog.
No. You couldn't have used Walk the Line.
Okay. So besides coal miner's daughter,
what else does she do? She's done a few things.
She's in Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, those are my two Sissy Spaceks right there.
I'm looking at her filmography.
And you know, I was going right to Tommy Lee Jones with coal miner's daughter.
Yeah, I'm seeing here at least I think I'm safe in saying at least 4 other Sissy Spacek films that I think you've seen.
Give me one.
Okay. I'll give you one. From 1983, The Man with Two Brains.
What is that? The remake?
With Steve Martin.
Oh, with Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin.
No, that's All of Me you're thinking of. The Man with Two Brains is
Steve Martin and
Kathleen Turner.
All right. Well,
I mean, that's just one.
No. I mean, I can use that one because he's in Derville Martin is in 5 on the Black Hand Side with Dick Anthony Williams. Dick Anthony Williams is in The Jerk with Steve Martin. And Steve Martin is in apparently this with Sissy Spacek.
Apparently this.
Which I don't know why he would make the same version of a movie that I know is an inferior version to the one with Lily Tomlin.
It's not the same. I don't think it's the same movie.
Is he one of the men with two brains? Is he one of the? Is he the two brain man?
The film is a broad comedy with Martin starring as Dr. Michael Herrera, a pioneer neurosurgeon with a cruel and unfaithful new wife, Dolores Benedict. Yeah, it's not. Are you thinking of the Rosie Greer movie? The Man with Two Heads?
Yeah, that's
it's not a remake of that.
Right, but is it Steve Martin sharing his body or something with somebody else's brain?
I think he crosses brains with his wife, I believe.
Or is it a Freaky Friday thing?
I think
it's it Freaky Friday or are they sharing a body?
It's been a freaking minute since I've seen it. Yeah. It's been a minute. It's not All of Me.
Right, which is clearly superior to this.
All of Me was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. All right, so you got it.
All right.
Let me give you these other movies that I think you have seen.
Okay.
Crimes of the Heart from 1986, starring Diane Keaton, Jessica Lange, Sam Shepard, and Sissy Spacek.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
It's one of those chick flicks.
Yeah.
Or romantic.
Like 80s chick flicks, too.
She also starred with Whoopi Goldberg in The Long Walk Home.
Oh, no. That's what Whoopi Goldberg was making all the movies where she was a maid or wearing period clothing and stuff, and she was helping white people recognize that black people were human.
All right.
That whole Whoopi Goldberg bag she was in during the 80s doing that stuff.
She was also in JFK.
You know what? I've never actually seen JFK.
It's a fever dream of a movie.
Yeah.
I find myself rewatching it often.
I mean, how come whatchamacallit doesn't make movies anymore?
Oliver Stone?
How come Oliver Stone doesn't make movies?
He's wrapped in theories. And she also was in, what was this movie that I thought you saw? I don't know if you saw Affliction.
I did not.
That was a good movie. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I go right to Carrie and Coal Miner's Daughter because Coal Miner's Daughter is fantastic.
That was probably it.
Yeah,
That was it. Unless you saw 4 Christmases
I did not.
with Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right.
Reese Witherspoon is an actress who I think is a very good actress, but they only put her in certain kinds of movies. So I never watch anything Reese Witherspoon is in because I know it's going to be a movie I don't like.
Well, I mean, she's become her own advocate. She's producing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm glad because I think she's a really good actress.
Yeah, I like her.
The guy who wrote Election just he just published an essay talking about what happened to her character in his, because I think it's based on a book.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have theories about what happens to her character.
Okay.
Years later, and he just wrote an essay saying what he thought, or he either wrote an essay or he's written a book. Anyway, it had me thinking about Election, which made me become an admirer of Reese Witherspoon.
Yes.
So, but there you go.
All right. Well,
All
that
right.
is 6 Degrees of
That's
Derville
6
Martin,
Degrees of
ladies and
Derville
gentlemen.
Martin.
Hope you enjoyed.
With a pinch of Elvis. We can also get to Elvis from Derville Martin, a Negro actor of great acclaim.
Are you going to see the biopic Elvis
when it's on cable?
Okay.
Like when it comes on.
You don't want to see that in IMAX?
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Great Balls of Fire really burnt up any desire I needed to see of any of them 50s white boy rock people. Like it's like nothing's ever going to touch Great Balls of Fire. So I'm done.
No, that's a movie I've never seen either.
I keep telling you to watch it because it's fantastic.
All right.
All right.
One day. Anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Best thing what's his name's ever done.
Who?
I forgot. I just forgot his name. The star. Not Brit. Because isn't he one of the brothers?
It's not.
Does he have a brother?
Is it Bo Bridges?
No.
It's not Jeff.
It's not Jeff. It's not Bo. But I thought he also had brothers. Oh, Lord.
See, you.
I know. We were doing so well. This is my fault. Always, I know. You're right.
The Great Balls of Fire was the story of Jerry Lee Lewis.
Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
Best thing Dennis Quaid's ever done.
No.
Boom.
No.
The Gauntlet. This is me throwing it.
No, that's not the
best thing Dennis Quaid's ever done.
No.
What's better than that?
DOA.
It's better than that.
No, it's not.
Oh, how you know you haven't seen it?
I don't have to.
Exactly.
I don't have to. DOA is better.
It's really not. Like he stretches much more in this. Like he just sort of.
When is the last time you saw
Great
Balls of Fire?
Actor guy.
When is the last time you saw Great Balls of Fire?
Like a year ago. I watch Great Balls of Fire all the time.
No, you're wrong. Anyway,
I mean, you can say that, but you haven't seen it.
Farrell Blackwell says Great Balls of Fire, Dennis Quaid to Malcolm.
It really is.
Oh, yes, it was a biopic.
No, but it is an epic.
No.
Like, it is his epic.
Epic about some guy marrying teenagers.
See, again, you haven't seen it. Much like, now I'm suspicious about whether or not you've actually watched Blade Runner.
No, I've seen it.
Have you?
I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's time I cannot get back watching that boring, morose dreck.
Right. You watch them old dry ass 30s movies.
They're not dry. You don't watch
Blade
them.
Runner. Oh, I've watched them.
No, you haven't.
I've watched them more than you've watched Blade Runner. Come on. What's next? What's next on the program?
The show.
Oh, right. We actually review a movie sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Maybe we do that. All right.
So next, let's get into our review of Get On Up. But first, it's time for Trailer Talk.
Trailer Talk.
Where Vincent and I, what do we do here? We just shoot the shit over the part of the show that will be edited out from the podcast. I saw that Miss Blaylock finally made it to a live show. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Shout out to you. And Juan Thompson is in the building.
What's going on, Juan.
It says that Great Balls of Fire was my movie. Winona Ryder is adorable.
Mhm.
She plays the teenager. in
She
that
does. She does.
movie? Okay. All right. Whatever.
You ain't hurt nobody but yourself.
I'm not going to see this.
All
movie.
right, fine. Look.
I don't care. I don't believe it.
All right.
I don't believe that it's good.
All right, fine.
I've heard good things.
Right. You just being obstinate. You just somebody just taking a knife out your pocket and hacking at your own nose. You'll show me. I'll show Vince. I won't watch this quality film.
No. I won't. Oh, Juan Thompson is Miss Blaylock. Okay. All right, cool. I didn't because I came on as Miss Blaylock and now it's the same person. So color me corrected. All right. Okay. Anything you want to talk about?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
No, you get
Get on up.
no. Get directly.
Yeah, we actually talked about a lot of stuff during the show.
We.
So,
Oh, you know what I wanted to say?
what'd you want to say?
And I tried to have a surprise for you tonight.
Okay.
I wanted to get a toasted almond bar for you tonight.
Oh, that is so thoughtful.
Now, the ice cream truck hasn't been on the block.
Right. Apparently he's re-upping.
He's re-upping, yes. So I was actually going to order from Instacart. So I was going to say, because I think if I got a box of 6,
Right. It's kind of worth the
if I didn't eat them, I got a friend.
Right.
Who, if I say, yo, come over and eat this ice cream, he'd be over here in a second.
Okay.
You can't buy a box of toasted almond bars.
Really?
No. All they had was the strawberry
The strawberry
shortcake
version.
one.
Yeah, which I'm actually, which is like for serial killers.
Yeah.
Like who eats that one?
No.
Like who ate the strawberry shortcake one? Like you would see it on there next to it,
Yeah.
and you would think, who orders this abomination?
Apparently nobody, because that's all they had. So
Okay.
they had the strawberry shortcake one. They had the chocolate eclair one,
Okay.
which quietly I was this close to getting.
Yeah.
But then they said, oh, we're low in that order. May we suggest the strawberry shortcake?
What is that about?
I was like, yo, no.
Don't I want that
No,
bullshit?
Abort.
Yeah.
Abort. And then everything else was like these monster mashups, like the Oreos,
See, man.
you know, the Nestle Crunch ones. It's like, I
See.
don't know. I just want
See.
toasted almonds
Just toast them.
around
Yeah.
vanilla ice cream.
Well, I appreciate the thoughtfulness behind that.
The search continues.
The search continues.
Because I want to get this, because now I want a toasted almond
Toasted
bar.
almond. That is weird.
I was even going to like Wegmans, figuring like
Yeah.
maybe they had like
You're
some
like a fancy one.
food.
Yeah, right.
You know, like Paul Newman's
Right.
toasted almond bar.
right. Locally sourced almonds.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the milk from cold cows
Yeah.
directly or something.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find them, man. So
All right.
Aaron Fry says, good humor toasted almond bar is the Dennis Quaid of ice cream bars.
I may be going to hell, cousin, but I'll go playing this piano.
Oh, here's something. Farrah Blackwell wanted to know if anybody has watched Ms. Marvel,
I watched the first episode.
which premiered on
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. What did
Yeah.
you think of the first
I
episode?
thought it was cute. Well, maybe not. Obviously, maybe people don't know that I'm not a Pakistani Muslim, but it didn't hit me as hard as it's hit people who see themselves for the first time.
Mhm.
But I really appreciate the representation,
I do too.
and I'm very happy for people who are seeing themselves
Mhm.
like this for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's cute. I think it's very much in that Spider-Man speed. which I
Yeah.
think is appropriate for
The audience that they're
the
going for.
audience they're going
To keep
for,
their
and for
attention.
Ms. Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I
I
thought it was cute.
charming as
Yeah.
well, and I dug the special effects, the graphics that they put in
Sure.
there with the illustrations or graffiti
Yeah.
and things coming to life. I really enjoyed that. Again, I think that definitely is leaning on the audience that they're going for, things that will catch their attention span, because an older person is like, oh, it's too many things moving on screen. Like, no, but the younger people, they're
Yeah.
right there. They're catching all the references and everything like that.
And I like the fact that Marvel Studios has earned over 20 years presenting these very lived in scenarios. Like, I thought the Avengers Con was a really nice backdrop.
Yes.
And again, well earned. This isn't something they just plopped out. Like, it's the Dora Milaje, and it's Valkyrie, and so I liked it.
Yeah. I someone's asking in the chat whether or not this was better than Raising Dion, which was on Netflix. I
think it's different.
I think it's way better.
I mean,
I think it's
way better, but I also think it is way more supported than Raising Dion. I mean, Raising Dion was its own thing. Like I just said, this is something that is part of the culmination of 20 years of them building up to this.
True, but what I will say is that Ms. Marvel feels like a lot of their television shows, like it does have its own identity as far as how it's put together, how its look. And Raising Dion, I never felt developed an identity of what it wanted to look like. And Naomi on CW, I thought was just too generic.
Well, I think Raising Dion again didn't have the benefit of
a universe.
A universe, B, a blueprint of Ms. Marvel in the comics is almost 10 years old now. So you've got that blueprint that they could build from, and everything you just said. And Naomi, look, I'll just say this during trailer talk. I obviously was pulling for Naomi and Ava DuVernay, and God knows we're team Ava DuVernay. But from the very beginning, I always just felt like they hired Michael Bendis, who created Naomi, but also created Miles Morales. Like, I feel like they hired him and said, make us a Miles Morales. And he had to jot something.
As far as you're talking about DC.
Okay. And Warner Brothers said, make us something that can be multicultural, that we can sell to the black kids, because the bean counters told us that's a good market, and black is real hot. Black and superhero stuff is hot, and make us something. Like, Naomi as a character has never really struck me.
I'll give you that,
as anything organic. Like it's so, like, the artifice was always very transparent to me with Naomi. Like, we got to have a young, I mean, look, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of the philosophy over the past 50, 60 years with DC and Marvel in the way they approach race.
Right. No, well, you don't want to go there.
But that's always been DC. Like, let's slap a coat of paint on something, call it black. The blacks, go to do that. The blacks, and Ms. Marvel obviously has a Muslim writing staff and a Muslim creator and Pakistani voices involved, and it feels much more authentic.
Well, to your
and
point,
it always has.
To your point, though, Robert Monroe Jr. is pointing out that Bendis has black adopted daughters and made Naomi for them. And
Yes,
I do recognize.
And I read the press release where he said that too.
Okay.
I mean, I know no disrespect to him and his black daughters, but there's nothing about Naomi that ever struck me as anything other than something that in 2 weeks they were trying to figure out how to put on TV and make some t-shirts. And market research shows that the Princess Bride merchandise moves this many t-shirts per year, regardless of whether or not the movie has been out. And Black middle class families like images of Black girls, and progressive families like images of Black girls. And let's tap into that market, because the only thing that DC has is Bumblebee, a bit Black female character from 1962. And we gonna figure out how to do something with Nubia, who was a knockout Wonder Woman character.
Who appeared in like 2 panels.
But we got to figure out how to get down with some of this Black stuff.
True.
All right. But that's you need to talk me back down from my nerd rage.
Well, here you go. Bree 517 confesses that she's the serial killer. She eats the strawberry shortcake.
Bree, you don't have to live like this. You don't have to live like this.
No, it's fine.
There was a whole civil rights movement that we don't have to eat that.
That's fine, Bree. You bring the strawberry shortcake. I'll bring the pretzel bites, and we will have ourselves a good time. We'll listen to Vincent. All right. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I don't believe you got me nerd raging on here.
All right. Get On Up, a 2014 American biographical music drama about the life of singer James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, directed by Tate Taylor and starring Chadwick Boseman. This film also features Nelson Ellis as Bobby Bird, Dan Aykroyd as manager Ben Bart, Viola Davis as Susie Brown, the mother of James Brown, Craig Robinson as Maceo Parker, Octavia Spencer as Aunt Honey, and Lenny James as the father of James Brown. In Vincent's selection for this stop in Black Music Month here on the Michaud Mission, Vincent, what say you of Get On Up, the James Brown story?
I think one of the real bad and unintended consequences of Ray was that Ray got everybody thinking we need to make a biopic of fill in the blank. And we need to get fill in the blank to play the aforementioned fill in the blank.
Okay.
So there was this flurry, I think, after Ray, where the chase was on for the next Ray. And if I were a producer in 2011, 2012 or so, and someone asked me about a James Brown biopic, I would have said that this is a terrible idea.
Really?
For a variety of reasons.
Okay.
First of all, these famous musicians, you have to get permissions.
Yes.
You have to get people to sign off. The Brown family and estate is famously a robust family and estate, legally speaking. This is not a case of I want to make a biography of little Bobby blonde-haired Johnson, and you get a lawyer somewhere or a grandchild who lives in Mississippi to sign off. The James Brown estate is that's more than a notion. Right. Getting them to sign off. And you know, unfortunately, because everything that happened after James Brown's death, we all know that they keep their lawyer, like their lawyers are well seasoned and blooded.
Yes.
So first and foremost, you gotta deal with them. I alluded to it a moment ago. I think the James Brown narrative, the story of his life, is one that presents challenges if you're going to put it on film as an inspirational story, as a story that reflects well on James Brown, frankly. Which then goes to the first thing. If the family's going to sign off on it, you assume they want you to show him in the best possible light. James Brown has had very well documented issues throughout his entire public life of being a physical abuser of women, a womanizer. He's had business issues.
Yeah.
He's had issues with his bands. Even someone like Ray Charles, who had a period of drug addiction, but then kicked, and then had this long period of life after it. So when you think about how you would put this in a story, you can kind of have this, in the second act where he's, grappling with drug addiction. And then he has the redemptive part in the third act.
Right.
James Brown, and again, this is well documented, really grappled with drugs almost until his death.
Yeah.
So there's
no real third act.
Right, exactly. Like there really isn't. James Brown's public life in the last 10 years was really one more of controversy than anything else. And then after his death, everything that happened with the chaos with his will and who's in the will and who's acknowledged as his child, like it's just, it presents a difficult challenge. So there's that. Then there's just the very idea of someone portraying James Brown. The power of James Brown is James Brown. Like when you see James Brown perform, it's not a matter of hearing James Brown. Right. You have to see James Brown.
That's right.
And the power of James Brown performing. By definition, anyone who tries to emulate James Brown is going to suffer in comparison. Finally, I think the challenge of portraying James Brown, you have to address what I call the legacy of James Brown's Celebrity Hot Tub, where whether you remember Eddie Murphy portraying James Brown in a skit on Saturday Night Live with James Brown's Celebrity Hot Tub, or you remember him being part of Eddie Murphy's act in Delirious, the James Brown bit is such a part of the fabric of pop culture. Like everybody can do a James Brown bit, that any actor who portrayed James Brown would have to figure out how to not be doing a James Brown bit.
Right.
So all of this, before you do anything, I think is a challenge to making a film about James Brown. Having said all of that, I think Get On Up makes some really smart moves to deal with all of this. First and foremost, I think this is a really well-calibrated cast.
Yeah.
I think it's a good cast. I think it's a great cast. But I also think it is very thoughtfully put together. Obviously, we're going to get to Chadwick Boseman. Let's just take Chadwick Boseman out for a minute.
Right.
But you got these three juggernauts in here that are used judiciously throughout the film. Viola Davis as his mother, Octavia Spencer as his aunt, Ingenue Ellis as the singer who ends up marrying Bobby Bird.
Yes.
Around them, Vicky. You've got Jill Scott, who does nice work when she's called upon to do nice work. you have Dan Aykroyd, and you have Craig Robinson, and you have Tariq Black Thought Turner. And the reason I've grouped them together, Trotter, I'm sorry. The reason I've grouped them together, anyone who has seen The Tonight Show or frankly been to a Roots concert over the past 20 years knows Black Thought is actually funny.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually a funny dude.
He is.
And I think one of the smart moves that this film makes is that it knows there's a degree of absurdity to James Brown's story. And these three actors bring a level of comedy that kind of almost let the steam out a little bit.
Okay.
Like, there are moments with Dan Aykroyd and Chadwick Boseman that are fantastic. Like I realized what I wanted was a Dan Aykroyd, Chadwick Boseman project.
Okay.
Where they just sort of bounce off of each other. So the cast, I think, is a really good cast. And, you know, speaking of being in the shadow of Ray, you know, I think it's worth noting that playing young James Brown is I just had him. I just had the little brother up and then I lost him.
Jamarian and Jordan Scott.
Jamarian Jordan Scott, who played young Ray.
That's weird.
In Ray.
Okay. That's why his face looks familiar.
Yeah, so you know, Get On Up wasn't afraid to lean into that. And he's a good little actor as he plays young James Brown. I think it's a pretty smart script. Like, I like the way the script works. I like the way the script is non-linear. Like, you see James Brown at these different points of life. I like the fact, speaking of the absurdity of James Brown, how they lean right into it in the bookends, where you have Brown in 1988. They allude to the drug use, like they show drugs, and you know, it's this absurd bit with him in the shotgun. And
showing up at like an insurance
showing up at the building he owns, and someone has used his bathroom.
They took a break in his bathroom,
and then he leads the police on a chase, which a lot of this is true.
It's 100%.
Like I said, like the last 20 years of James Brown's life was a lot of this type of thing. But the film leans right into that. Look, this is also part of it. Before we get to the beats that you know of James Brown. And then there's Chadwick Boseman. And like I said, I think Chadwick Boseman had this really difficult job portraying this person that we all, quote unquote, know.
Yes.
Like, either through his historical footage, or for many of us, you know, men our age, like the James Brown we know is really 80s James Brown.
Yeah.
Like, we know Living in America James Brown. We know Static James Brown. We know James Brown post James Brown Celebrity Hot Tub. And Chadwick Boseman had to figure out a way to inhabit this person without it becoming caricature. And I think his strategy was almost to go small. Like, it's all gesture. Like the first shot you see of James Brown, where they show him in shadow and he's going out to perform, the way Boseman holds his hands.
Yep.
The way he kind of does this strut, where you know it's James Brown. You don't hear a voice. You don't even see a face yet.
It's hard to see. Yeah.
You know, obviously you can see shadow. You can see the hair a little bit, but it's all gesture. Back to the direction, I think another smart move they make. Again, God bless Chadwick Boseman. He ain't James Brown. But if you pay attention to the footage of the performances, it starts out, most of it are really tight shots.
Yes.
On Boseman's face.
All right. I have to take it. Do you hear that, Vincent?
I do hear it.
It's the ice cream man.
I know. But we in it now, though.
Okay.
I know.
Because I'll go get it.
I know you will. And
I'll go get it.
I appreciate it, but
and the missionaries probably want me to get it. I'm purposely not looking at the chat right now.
Not looking at the chat We're going to keep going.
Okay.
I appreciate how the shots stay tight on Boseman, so that when he's performing as James Brown, we see his facial expressions. You get a cut every now and then to his feet, but the full body shots, not a lot.
Oh, I disagree.
Until it's earned. I think as each performance goes on, the camera pulls back more and more. And then you get the centerpiece, which is the Get On Up performance.
Okay.
And by then, the film is hoping you've bought in. Like at this point, you've bought in.
And you no longer see Chadwick.
And you no longer see Chadwick Boseman. You see James Brown. But whether you buy in or not, I appreciate the strategy. Like, I appreciate that, again, they thought about it.
Okay.
Like, we have to get to this. And then when you do get to it, if you've bought in, which frankly I had by then, it's a celebration. Like, it's actually a celebration of everything that you've been seeing up to this point. So that besides the performance, again, the sort of gesture, this sort of almost delicacy that Chadwick Boseman brings to his portrayal of James Brown. What I had in my notes is that by the end, Chadwick Boseman had humanized James Brown more than James Brown humanized James Brown. So that I thought it was a terrible idea to do this. But by the end, I liked it. Like, I liked it, and I was, and I think it's I think it's a good film.
Well, I will say that Chadwick Boseman does become James Brown, which is interesting because, and I guess this is not the first time this has happened. He kind of resembles James Brown, but he's almost a whole human taller than James Brown.
Yeah.
He's like 6 feet, and James Brown was 5'5". Like, there's a reason why he wore like heels when he performed. But he does become James Brown in every way. As you talk about the camera moving back and then you're getting the full body performance. That is Chadwick Boseman after, I think, over a month of training. Got all the dance moves down, and he is fantastic. He is fantastic on the stage as James Brown, as well as portraying the man James Brown. You do buy into him becoming this character, which is James Brown. And I say character of James Brown because where this movie loses me, it's because this James Brown is a character.
I forgot to mention one point. I thought it was a good strategy, and I think it's what you're about to speak on, to weave this thing through the friendship
of him and Bobby Bird to try and bypass all this other stuff. See, I don't mind that, and I definitely saw them trying to do that. And shout out to Nelson Ellis as Bobby Bird. He does yeoman work on this movie as well. I dug how they were trying to do that. Yet I think the failing of this movie is that it's, to me, at the end of the day, even though it's kind of cool with the whole nonlinear storytelling, and I'm always a sucker for that type of thing, that notwithstanding, I still think a lot of it is very just superficial. So I think, like, they want to interrogate the relationship between James Brown and Bobby Bird, yet there's a moment where James Brown and Bobby, with their group, the famous Flames, as it becomes apparent to their managers and record company that James is the famous Flames, and he basically presents them all with an ultimatum that yo, um, thanks to James, we're going to make this James Brown and his famous flames. Otherwise, y'all can flame out and be ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all of the other flames, which I think they're about 5 guys, including Bobby, leave. The next thing you know, Bobby's back.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no investigation on why he's back. What the conversation between him and James, especially because James Brown, because you learn who had a very hard youth, being more or less abandoned by his mother and father,
Mm-hmm.
One right after the other, and then raised by his aunt Honey in pretty much a brothel. I had to, like, are we watching the James Brown story or the Richard Pryor story? That's what I had to ask myself.
I know.
And then he winds up in jail, and it is in jail that he meets Bobby Bird, who's in jail to entertain the prisoners. Bobby Bird there with his group, the Famous Flames.
Right.
So considering that it really is Bobby who took James kind of like, a dalliance with music, because he definitely dealing with some other stuff as well. Music was very much on the back burner. Bobby Bird brings the music to the forefront in James' life. And then for them to reach that moment where Bobby quits his own group.
Right.
And then returns, and for there not to be any commentary on that whatsoever, I thought is a failing of this movie.
So the bit with Maceo, the conversation with Maceo wasn't enough.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that was enough. I don't think there was. I can understand Bobby's not going to get equal weight, but I think that relationship, like you said, for it to be kind of like our window.
Yeah, it's like the real through line. Mm-hmm.
Right, the through line through this film. I think it should take some moments to investigate that a little bit, because then later on in the film, you're asked to be invested with Bobby, but they don't give you really anything about Bobby to be invested in. You're asked to be invested a little bit in Bobby's relationship with Vicky, played by Anjanae Ellis. And yes, there are scenes between the two of them, but there's no depth there.
Mm-hmm.
There's only quick asides, so you don't really know what's going on. There seems to be some type of friction between the two of them and James that seems like it's a bit of a triangle,
mm-hmm.
but you don't know because there's really no investigation of that at all. So I think that is a failing, especially considering what else is there, which is predominantly, like you said, James Brown's life. Shout out to Chadwick Boseman, doing a great job of the performances, but they never go deep.
Well, they can't.
Well, why can't they?
Well, then you're not going to get permission from the family.
Well, see, I hear you on that, but I think there are allusions to things. There are allusions off screen to his abuse.
I mean, just one. There's only one moment really where he hits a woman.
Right.
And like you said, that's off screen.
Yes. Yeah. There are allusions to his womanizing, yet you don't see any agency on the woman's part. They all seem to be like, gung-ho about it.
I mean, it's James Brown.
So at the end of the day, the performance is notwithstanding. First of all, let me give a shout out to one of my favorite actresses who shows up for a very bit part in this movie, but I just tickled by everything she did, and that's Allison Janney,
mm-hmm.
who shows up as this white woman at a hotel who can't believe that they have to share their pool with Negroes,
mm-hmm.
But then who is seen later in the bar overhearing the rehearsal and just jitterbugging her heart away. So I love Allison Janney, and mad shout out to Lenny James, an actor I think
Yeah.
very underappreciated.
Yeah.
And
As James Brown's father.
As James Brown's father. And Viola Davis. We can't say enough about Viola Davis, but I think that Viola Davis has the two best scenes in this entire film. The beginning scene, and I'm not even talking about the beginning scene, fighting with James Brown's father. I'm just talking about the joy of her playing with little James Brown in the woods, which I think is such a joyful moment. And is very interesting because it runs 100% counter to how she appears in the rest of the movie.
Look, man, again, I really think this is a smart script that makes smart decisions. Along with what you're saying about the superficial, which frankly, I just think the seams that you see are, again, we not signing off on something that makes him look, frankly, like who he in a lot of ways was.
Yeah.
So we got to deal with it. But I love the fact that they very judiciously use Viola Davis's performance at these moments throughout the film, because she's amazing. Like, I'm glad they didn't burn her up in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we'd be sitting here going, why didn't we have more Viola Davis? It's like, no, we're going to give you a little Viola Davis here. 20 more minutes. We're going to give you a little bit more Viola Davis. Half hour. We're going to give you some Viola Davis. And it was, I like that choice.
Yeah, see,
because she's so good.
I like the choice that she is so good. The other scene where she is good is a scene that is not true, but nevertheless, it is extremely poignant when she shows up backstage to James Brown. I think was it at the Apollo?
Yeah.
His appearance at the Apollo. That scene is fantastic. However, this again is another letdown of the film, because the real story of how his mother comes back in his life is primarily the work of his first wife, Velma.
Yes.
She's the one that works there.
Yes.
Works to bringing his mother back into to his life. And while she never becomes like a mother figure, when he get in the film pays lip service to like, I don't want her to want for anything. You make sure that she's looked after. That is true how James Brown did treat her for the rest of her life. But he is saying that to Bobby Bird.
Yes.
Right. And I'm fine that you never see him doing that. But again, that is because Bobby Bird is supposed to be your window in the through line through this film. And that doesn't do anything. And it misses the opportunity to do something with his wife, Velma, and giving her some freaking agency in this movie. But that's another moment where real life is better than what is in the film.
Real life is better than what's in the film, but I'm going to go back to what I said at the beginning about it being a bad idea. No one's going to sign off on that.
But no, with all due respect, why don't you sign off on his first wife, the mother of his children?
Yes, because
giving her at least a little bit of agency.
Because it's sort of like in all of my legal training comes from reruns of Law and Order. It's sort of like once you call the witness up, the witness is fair game. So like if I call a witness and you're the opposing counsel, you get to talk to the witness too.
Okay.
Once you open the door to his wives, you open the door to his wives.
Yeah, but they already shut that door because they show Velma. They show Jill Scott.
Right.
There's another wife after Jill Scott. They don't show any of the other wives.
Look, man. Again, you got to be real easy with these wives. And not for nothing, not to put too fine of a point on it, but the people whose signatures that you need to get this thing made are the children of these wives.
Right.
Who aren't going to, at least I don't believe, and all I have for evidence is the movie we saw. We're going to sign off on something that showed their mothers and their father in a certain light. Like, you have to look, stop. You know how this works. This ain't our first time watching one of these movies. We talked about this with Ray. You talk about this with they ain't made a Jimi Hendrix movie right yet.
That's true.
Because you got to get people to sign off on these things. Now, once you get them to sign off, you got to work within what they signed off for. And like I said, the very first thing I said, Vincent Williams, we need $2 million. We're trying to make a James Brown movie. Yeah, I'm not signing off on that, because you're going to have to go through the James Brown estate. And the James Brown estate is not going to sign off for the type of film that Lynn Webb wants, with realism and factual things that happen.
It's not so much that I want the realism. I just think that they could have gone deeper. I think the film is very superficial, and I understand things have to
people
be
in hell
whitewashed,
want
things have to be massaged a little bit, but I think they massaged themselves out of a better movie.
Well, look, again, I think with what they had to work with, and I'm going to keep saying, like, I really do think, I don't know how you make a movie about James Brown that James Brown's family will sign off for.
Well, to be fair, when I'm looking on here, I don't see anything about the family having to sign off on. Like, I don't see like them being involved. Their names don't show up in the credits.
Look,
Mick Jagger's executive producer.
I know Mick Jagger's the executive producer, and then frankly, I think that's part of it too. I think people try to this is almost a love letter to the legend of James Brown.
Right.
Look, James Brown's life was filled
with contradiction
and ugliness.
Yes.
Like ugliness. Again, like all the way back to Tammy friggin' Terrell. So it really is. Like, I think they ended up making, what is it, a silk purse out of a sow's ear? Like, I think they made a silk purse out of a sow's ear based on what they had to work with, which, like I said, it's almost like I think it's best to watch this film as almost an impression of James, like it's I think appropriately enough, because we just watched Miles Ahead. It's sort of the same thing. Like if you really want to know about James Brown, you need to go watch a documentary. But don't be the kid that does the book report on James Brown by watching this movie, because it's not really there.
No, it's not.
The facts of James Brown.
It's not.
Now, it sounds like that bothered you more than it bothered me.
I guess it did. I mean, I guess I just wanted more, and it left me wanting.
Yeah, but I think the performances,
and it's long.
Yeah, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes. I'd bought in. Like, I really like 15, 20 minutes in, I really just enjoyed Chadwick Boseman. Like, I really enjoyed him moving through this character.
Yeah.
And even the very first scene with him under the makeup in the gun, and I was like, okay, all right, like, we're gonna start big. Like, you're gonna take a big swing right in the beginning, and then just kind of deconstruct it and build it back up to land where we started, with the makeup and the mannerisms and everything. And I really enjoyed Chadwick Boseman.
Did you like the breaking of the fourth wall?
I did. If I can be brutally honest, I probably enjoyed it more because Chadwick Boseman has passed.
Okay.
So it was like this beautiful moment where he was talking, directly to me, and we're never going to get that again. I think the first time I saw it, I may have thought it was a little bit too cutesy.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it this time. But I don't. The reason I didn't mind it was not because of the merits of the film. It was because of the tragedy of Chadwick Boseman's. You.
It annoyed me.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, especially because it was used very sparingly. So therefore, like, then why put it in there? Like, you could have just. It's like almost like they forgot. It's like, oh yeah, he's supposed to sometimes talk to the
Right.
Like, get out of here. It was annoying. Farrell Blackwell says that he saw Chadwick the whole time. At no point was I convinced Chadwick was doing anything other than a James Brown impersonation. And your brother Damon says, Get On Up should have been called Lonely Teardrops because this would have been money better spent as a Jackie Wilson biopic.
Now that'd be a good biopic.
That would be a very
very
good biopic.
Really good biopic.
And that is a name and a career that time has forgotten.
Yeah.
And a story
look
worth investigating.
Look,
Documentaries about it.
Made me think about Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Like, I let them early 50s almost jump blues singers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that people watch Get On Up?
I would, but it's a very empty recommend. Again, unfortunately, we only have a number of films that Chadwick Boseman made. So you kind of have to watch one when you get an opportunity. But I do think the performances are strong enough to warrant watching this. And as far as Chadwick Boseman performances go, I disagree with Farrell Blackwell. Like, I really did think it was a nice expression of the craft, how he navigated this big personality.
There's a lot of his own singing in here.
Well,
so in the James Brown voice, so
yeah,
there's a lot to be championed.
Yeah.
If I knew of the like the epic James Brown documentary that was out there,
right?
Like, if I knew what that was,
right,
I would recommend seeing that. Not knowing if there is one out there,
right? Because I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Then I begrudgingly recommend this film because James Brown is definitely a name that needs to be celebrated.
Sure.
But I would hold out for the documentary.
This is a moment where Jill Scott climbs up on the bed and says, "Well, get on up, Mr. Brown." I said, "Oh."
Well, look, man.
I said, "Oh."
Look, first of all,
she said, "What you gonna do, James? You gonna find me?" And then James Brown said, "I'm not gonna find you. You already fine." And I said, "I know that's right, James Brown."
Because when Jill Scott shows up on the screen, she's in the crowd looking, and she caught my attention. I was like, "That's Jill Scott."
Look,
because Jill Scott,
is
Jill Scott.
Look.
He
said, "I ain't gonna find you because you already fine." And then she climbed up on that bed,
and she got finer.
And she said, "Well, come on up, Mr. Brown." I said, "Well, all right."
Yes.
Jill Scott. So,
sucker for some dimples.
Ooh.
All right,
ladies
and gentlemen. Before we tell you what we're going to be watching next week here on the Micheaux Mission and Black Music Month, I invite you all to like and follow the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast. Every Black film ever made. Go to our website, MicheauxMission.com, where you can hit swag and check out all the cool designs and gifts available by way of our good friends at TeePublic, including our 6 Degrees of Derville Martin line. The Micheaux Mission is available via email. Email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. You can leave us a voicemail at 215-867-9666. Tell us what is on your mind. Follow the Michaud Mission on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, all at Michaud Mission, where you can give us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. A rating and a review helps people find our show. The Michaud Mission is a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work. Let me tell you our credits. The Michaud Mission is produced by Len Webb and Vincent Williams. Our co-producer is Maurice Popular. It is edited by yours truly. Social media is handled by Toya Haynes, and our theme music is by Alexa Gold. All right. Next week on the Michaud Mission.
All right.
Black Music Month continues, and we go to the year of 2009 for the life story of Biggie Smalls, aka Notorious B.I.G. Yeah, we're getting hip hop, ladies and
There
gentlemen.
we go.
Right here on the Michaud Mission.
B.I.G. Biggie.
Next week on the Michaud
All
Mission,
right.
where Vince will present his top 5 rappers to avoid. Won't want to miss it.
Only 5? Only 5.
Until then, he's Vince, I'm Len, and in parting, we say,
We'll see.